An American hostage, Idan Alexander, is finally free after more than a year and a half in the captivity of the terrorist group Hamas. Alexander, who has dual U.S. and Israeli citizenship, had been held captive since October 7th, 2023. As CNN's Jeremy Diamond reports for us, Hamas handed him over after direct talks with the Trump administration.
To Yael, Idan Alexander isn't just the last living American hostage in Gaza. He's her son. And this reunion is more than 19 months in the making. Alexander, an Israeli soldier captured by Hamas on October 7th, released unconditionally in a gesture that U.S. officials say could unlock a deal to free more hostages and deliver a ceasefire in Gaza. Before that emotional reunion, a phone call to U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff's cell phone assuaging a mother's worst fears.
Idan?
"You're out, my soul, you're out," she tells him, grasping at this new reality.
They just released a photo of you. You look unbelievable. Wow. You look beautiful. I love you so much.
That photo of Alexander alongside a Red Cross official and masked Hamas militants gave his family the first confirmation that Idan was alive and well. In Tel Aviv's Hostage Square, hundreds joining in the family's joy, cheering at the first sight of the hostage whose name, Idan, they've all come to know.
His parents are so happy. They're so happy.
President Trump making clear he expects Alexander's release to lead to much more, writing on social media, "This was a step taken in good faith to put an end to this very brutal war and return all living hostages and remains to their loved ones. Hopefully this is the first of those final steps necessary to end this brutal conflict." A week after announcing plans to launch a major new offensive in Gaza next week, the Israeli Prime Minister now agreeing under U.S. pressure to send a delegation to Qatar to negotiate. But he is also vowing those negotiations will continue under fire. For the families of Israeli hostages still held in Gaza, their fight continues.
Mr. President, sir, all of the Israeli people are behind you. End this war. Bring them all home.
Yehuda Cohen's son, Nimrod, is the same age as Idan Alexander. They were even posted at the same base on October 7th. But Nimrod is still captive in Gaza.
My son has only two titles, Israeli citizen and Israeli soldier. The only difference is the American citizenship.
And Jake, that father, Yehuda Cohen, told me that he has lost faith in the Israeli government and its priority of getting the Israeli hostages out. But he tells me that he is hopeful now in the wake of this deal to free Idan Alexander that perhaps President Trump will lead the charge to free the remaining hostages and put pressure on the Israeli government to do the same. Jake.
Jeremy Diamond, thank you so much. Joining us now, Brett McGurk, who's served in the Obama, Trump, and Biden administrations. Brett, good to see you. What do you make of the U.S. directly talking with Hamas? What kind of message does that send? Do you worry about the precedent?
Well, first, Jake, I mean, you've been a champion for the hostages. I know you know Adi and Yael, and this is just a great moment, a great day. These images are something I spoke with Adi, the father of Idan, last night. This is something we should all celebrate. And you know, Idan was always going to come out at the first phase of what we called phase 2 of the hostage deal. The ceasefire deal fell apart about 3 weeks ago, and there's been a lot of work, I know, behind the scenes to secure Idan's release. About a month ago, Jake, Hamas put out just a horrific hostage video of Idan. Then a few days later, they claimed they lost contact with his captors, suggesting he had been killed in an Israeli strike. So there's been a lot of psychological torture going on. But look, there's been a lot of back-channel diplomacy. I know the Qataris played a role here. There have been indirect contacts with Hamas, some direct contacts with Hamas. We in the Biden administration pursued a number of channels with Hamas indirectly. We always kind of tried to figure out the best way to get the hostages out. It's extremely, extremely difficult. The most difficult negotiation I've ever been a part of.
I mean, I first of all, yes, of course, I completely applaud that he's been released. And personally, I don't have a policy when it comes to getting hostages out, but I do know it's a consideration for any government. Should we directly negotiate with this group that we consider to be a terrorist group, whether it's Hamas or Al-Qaeda or the Houthis or whomever? This also means, of course, that the U.S.-Hamas talks mean that the Trump administration kind of bypassed the Netanyahu government in Israel. And I wonder what you think about those repercussions.
Well, keep something in mind here. There's a reason why, Hamas didn't just out of its good graces decide to release Idan Alexander. It is under really tremendous unprecedented pressure. I mean, Israel has a policy right now that, frankly, in the Biden administration, we would not have endorsed. It is a complete siege on Gaza. There has been nothing going into Gaza, humanitarian aid, going on now nearly 7 weeks. That has put tremendous pressure on Gaza. You see Palestinians in Gaza rising up against Hamas. The military threat against Hamas matters. I mean, the pressure on Hamas matters. They are under unprecedented pressure, and the administration also, I think, leveraged effectively the visit of President Trump to Qatar, the first president ever to visit Qatar, to ensure that the Emir of Qatar and others are putting every possible ounce of pressure on Hamas to release Adan. That we were close to getting Adan out a few weeks ago. I think Steve Witkoff said that publicly. He thought he was going to be released, and then that fell apart, and they were able to get it done here. Look, anytime you can get an American out of a hostage situation, an administration will consider direct talks, including with a terrorist group. That is not, we talked to Hezbollah, we talked to others, we talked to groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda to get Americans out. The judgment you have to make before doing that is, do you have a realistic chance of actually succeeding, of getting the American home? If not, you're just kind of playing into the hands of the extremist group. In any case, this is good. The key thing here, Jake, this needs to be a catalyst now to get the rest of the hostages out and hopefully get to that phase 2 of the hostage deal. And what makes this so hard is Hamas's core demand is Israel says the war's over and Hamas remains in control of Gaza. And that's like not something that Israel's going to accept. I don't think it's something they should accept. But because of the pressure Hamas is under, there's a lot of discussions now about a formula where they actually do relinquish their security control of Gaza and you get to an end of the war. That would be consistent with the deal that was put together in the Biden administration, which talks about the conditions to be set for the end of the war. Bottom line, good news, I think there's now momentum. Talks are beginning again in Cairo and Doha to reach that phase 2. And, we have to keep pushing. And I give the administration credit for keep pushing. You never give up. And hopefully we can bring this war to an end, get the hostages home, and have a better future here for the Palestinians in Gaza, and then begin to talk about a political path to a long-term solution. Not there yet, but this could be a catalyst, and I think that's the most important outcome we should be looking for.
Let's hope so. Brett McGurk, thank you so much, as always, for your insights. We appreciate it.